Mary and I do a whole range of leadership seminars with all kinds of organizations. Some are in person, some are remote. We ask people to make presentations about change, right? Our good friend Larry Downs sent us this book a long time ago, Deep Change. You may wonder, what the heck does that have to do with anything? We ask people to make a 3-minute presentation on change, a change or improvement, innovation in your organization that makes a difference. And one of our clients used PowerPoint. And in fact, let's get into this, Mary. So in the graphic, you're going to see connecting with your audience. That's the first thing I want to do. It's about connecting with your audience. And then I want to talk about PowerPoint best practices. What does it have to do with leadership? Everything. Because leaders, in my view at least, and I know Mary agrees, leaders have to motivate people to make a difference in the lives of others. Leaders must motivate people to act, to do something. That's what Dr. King was all about. People say, oh, he was a great speaker. Yeah, he was a great leader who was a great speaker who motivated people to action, put their lives on the line for the civil rights movement. If you are a great speaker who doesn't move people to action, you're not really a great leader. That being said, Mary, connecting with your audience on any platform, digital or in person. First of all, the biggest difference from your perspective, we're doing this remotely, right? We're connecting, we're trying to connect, versus in person. Biggest difference.
Well, the biggest difference is you don't have that level of eye contact as you would in person. So if you and I were communicating in a studio sitting across from each other, I can literally be looking at you in the eye. But Zoom, which you're using that platform, but any virtual, Google Meet, what have you, right now, if I look at you, you're down on the screen over here. But I need to focus. Exactly. But if I talk to you the entire time looking over here, the audience, anybody watching, whether it's a meeting or with us on television today, you need to make that eye contact. So that is something that we work with our clients a lot on, because there is something to being in person and having that body language, being able to read the body language of the people that you're speaking with. So I find that that's the biggest challenge.
Sorry for interrupting. We talk about listening as well, and I interrupt Mary a lot. But that being said, what about when our clients say, our coaching clients, we do a lot of communication leadership coaching, Steve, what do you mean look into the camera? If I'm looking at the people on the screen, I'm connecting with them. It's unnatural to look into the camera. It's not normal. I feel distracted. All true. But what?
If you're not looking into the camera, the person on the receiving end does not feel that connection to you. That's why newscasters look into the camera as they're talking, because then you feel like they are talking directly to you, the audience. So yes, it's hard. And even if you're just doing it in a one-on-one meeting or even on a family Zoom, for anybody that's watching, if you're doing a family Zoom, sure, you can look around. I can see Steve's body language. I can look to see the cues that our director is giving us, but then you zero back in on that camera and it makes your audience feel much more connected.
Isn't it interesting, 2.5, almost 3 years as we get into the spring of 2023, into the pandemic, virtual, remote communication, that people are still looking all over the place? Isn't that interesting?
It is.
Okay, I'm sorry. Can we do this one? This is another little mini lesson. This is a mini seminar, if you will. Mary and I were talking about how we can use lessons in leadership as a teaching tool in our seminars. And this is where we want to do this. And Sylvester will put this, Sylvester, who's absolutely fabulous. He's so much more than an editor. He's creative, he's terrific. He's a leader on the back end of this series. He's going to put up PowerPoint best practices. Yes. Now, Mary, when we do our seminars, we ask people to make this 3-minute presentation on change, some improvement, some innovation. We had a client recently who we told he had 3 minutes to do this. And he said, I have a PowerPoint presentation. I was reluctant because it was 3 minutes. And I thought, wow, PowerPoint, that's going to be tough. Because what happens, Mary, when you're remote, it was a remote seminar. As soon as you put up a PowerPoint, what happens to the Brady Bunch boxes? What's that called again?
A gallery view. Yep.
What happens to gallery view as soon as you go with PowerPoint remotely?
Yeah, as soon as you go to PowerPoint remotely, everybody goes down into a film strip on the right-hand side of their screen. If you have more than 3 or 4 people on that Zoom, then you need to use an arrow that then will cycle through the people. And everyone knows at that point, hey, I'm really small on that screen. The presenter is more so focused on the PowerPoint. They really can't see that I am disengaged. I'm checking my email. I'm checking my phone. I'm reading a book. You could be doing a variety of things. So that's problem number one when you're on Zoom in a meeting. And once you put that PowerPoint up, even if you're able to get that PowerPoint up, because sometimes technology is challenging in that the technology doesn't work, the sharing of the screen doesn't work. So Steve and I have always said, always, if you can, go without, unless there's a true visual reason that you want to put something up on screen, be more conversational and engaging rather than relying on that PowerPoint.
So one of the best practices in PowerPoint, only use PowerPoint if it enhances your message. Next bullet point you're going to see, visuals are better than text. Why, Mary?
Because once you put up text on screen, and again, this applies for in-person or remotely, once you put up that text on screen, people are tempted to read the text. So one of two things is going to happen. You're going to be reading the text as you're doing your PowerPoint presentation. The person is going to be reading the text in their mind, so they're not going to hear what you're saying. Or on the flip side, you might be saying something other than what's on the text, but the person's mind, because, hey, we're all trained to, hey, it's up on screen, let me read it. So that person is not truly present and listening to what it is that you're actually saying.
Third bullet point, less is more. Mary, the client we had in the seminar, I saw you because he sent the PowerPoint to you, and then you were supposed to mechanically, I'm not sure how you were doing this technologically, put it up on the screen. And you said, quote, "Are you sure you want to do this?" You're laughing.
I'm laughing because
3-minute presentation.
Yes.
How many slides?
Oh my goodness. So this happens to so many people in person, again, and virtually. I had received the PowerPoint, there were 18 slides. So let's say theoretically, benefit of the doubt, even if you're going to put up each slide for 15 seconds, you're not going to have enough time even mathematically to say your points and get through almost 20 slides. So if you are going to use a PowerPoint, make sure you're very aware of the time limit that you have, and definitely do not have more than 3 slides for a 3-minute presentation because you're not going to be able to get through all of them. I think we stopped at slide 8.
Yeah, P.S. I'm going to go to the 4th bullet point in terms of best practices when using PowerPoint. But real quick, I cut off our client at 4.5 minutes and I said, Jim, do me a favor, stop. And he said, what? I said, stop right there, get rid of your PowerPoint, put us back on the gallery view and talk us through this. And he panicked, but he started doing it. Mm-hmm. How much better was he, Mary, with no slides, just talking to us? And we were remote. How much better?
We were remote. Yeah, it was night and day. He lit up. He became conversational. His body language changed. So before that, you could almost tell he was looking in, reading the slide. Once that slide went away, that barrier that was really breaking down his communication between us and everyone else that was on. I think we had 8 or 9 other people in the Zoom meeting that day in that seminar. Once that went away, it was conversational. Everybody else leaned in. Everybody else perked up. And that's something to remember. And I know people watching this, if you're like, I don't really do PowerPoint that often, but it could be in any other type of communication that you're doing. The key is to be conversational, engaging, and make sure you understand who your audience is and how they would really want and need to receive that information. Because more is not more, it's just more.
It's just more. And when you run out of time and you get cut off because there's more items on the agenda for the meeting, it's embarrassing. 4th bullet point, white space in between if you're going to have text, a lot of white space so that people can see it. And Mary, how about this brilliant tip? Bigger font. Mm-hmm. What?
If you're going to use any text, you want to make sure that it's large enough for the person to read it. Too often people think, again, more is better, and they try to cram in a whole bunch of like little text, statistics, and numbers. And Steve, one of the things that you've always said is that numbers can be numbing. No one's going to remember a ton of statistics. Nobody's going to remember a ton of text. They're going to remember either a story that you're going to share related to your presentation, or they're going to remember 1 or 2 keywords, regardless of what that is. But you want to make sure that you hone in on those keywords, less text. And if you do use text, definitely have it be nice and large.
When using PowerPoint, it is absolutely essential that you engage your audience, meaning don't talk to the PowerPoint, talk to the people, meaning the message is not in the PowerPoint, it's in you. So devil's advocate, Mary says, someone might say, but my PowerPoint keeps me focused. I remember what I want to say. What's the problem with that, Mary?
Well, again, it goes back to if you need that to stay focused, you're going to end up reading off of that PowerPoint. Everyone's seen a presentation where somebody is reading a script, they're reading the words, they're not having a conversation with you. So once you start relying on that PowerPoint, you are going to lose your audience almost immediately. They're going to tune out. And if you have something in a PowerPoint that you could just send after the fact, whether in an email or as an attachment, do it. Because so many times people say, well, I have so much more to say. There's so much research to support my argument. That's great. Send it after the fact. But in that presentation, short, sweet, concise, and definitely do not read that PowerPoint.
So that is our best practices around PowerPoint best practices. We'll have that as a mini seminar. Mary, I believe we have 2 minutes left. I want to try this real quick, and it's tied to this topic, but not really. Confidence in leadership. I was telling you about a client the other day who was reluctant to want to go into coaching because she just was not confident. And I said, that's why you need to be in communication coaching. Long story short, confidence as a leader comes from a lot of things, but is not one of them, I know it's grammatically incorrect, is one of them, in fact, practicing, getting feedback, getting up at bat again and again and again, Mary?
Absolutely. And I was hoping,
Patriots,
those
Patriots.
props.
We're going to have the general manager of the Somerset Patriots, Pat McVeary, joining us. Mary, you got to get up at bat, right?
I know, absolutely. So yes, it is about practice. You are not going to know if you're able to do it. It's like riding a bike. If you look at that bike, unless you get on it and you give it a shot, you're never going to learn how to ride that bike. You're not going to learn how to do it better unless you do it more often. And the same comes with presenting, having conversations, getting out of your comfort zone. Sure, it's hard. It is so hard to get outside of your comfort zone, but the payoff is going to be worth it. You're going to become more confident communicators and then in turn, more confident leader.
One of our daughter's friends has been working on riding a bike for a while, and I've tried to help her a couple of times. And she's going to ride that bike, but she's afraid right now. You got to yes, you're going to fall. That's why you do it on the soft surface. That's why you do it in a field. There is no other way. You got to keep getting up at bat. Yes, I know we have to go. That's Mary, that's Steve. Hopefully we've given you a little bit of confidence. You got our best practices using PowerPoint. It is the greatest leadership show in the world. Lessons in Leadership. Mary Gamba, Steve, see you next time.